Oh, that was real prevalent in terms of Asian Americans being embarrassed that they were Asian Americans. And so they really thought that they were white and wanted to be white and so forth. And so when you talked to them about issues revolving around race, you know, they would just totally think that it wasn't there. And they would totally disregard any of those kind of issues because, once again, they were so much into this self-hate. Hate in terms of the way they looked, hate in terms of the way their background. So they tried to do everything that was non-Asian and so forth because they were embarrassed by it. And partly because people would laugh at them and so forth. So as people would laugh at you, you kind of try to hide it. I still remember going to school with rice balls and kids laughing at you and so forth. And so, you know, you kind of have to have it in your bag, and you take a quick bite and put it back in so nobody can see what you're eating. And some of the other foods that we ate, you know, smell different. So who's got that? So you became real sensitive to those kind of issues. And so there was that trend at that particular time to try to become white and to try to not eat that. Even myself at home, my parents, even though my mom was born here, my dad came at an early age. So English, they spoke obviously, my mom perfectly and my dad almost perfectly, but they would speak Japanese and I wouldn't respond. I wouldn't respond to the Japanese. So if they'd ask me something in Japanese, I wouldn't answer. And I'd always say, I speak English, and so forth. In terms of wanting to go, they wanted me to go to Japanese school, I refused to go. It's right up here. It's only one Saturday, but I wouldn't go, and so forth, because I was embarrassed to be Japanese. We used to see Japanese guys from Japan and other Asians that were coming in, the new immigrants, the Chinese and the Filipinos. We'd make fun of them. And because we were so much trying to be white, and to them, they represented something different to us. They looked at, we thought it was an embarrassment and so forth, the way they talked, the way they dressed, the way they, the kinds of food they ate. So we used to make fun of them all the time. Can't even speak English. Look at the food you eat. You know, look at the way you dress. You know, the big insult was, you look like you dress like a foreigner. It's the biggest insult. Or you eat the same junk they eat. Biggest insult, and so forth. But once again, it had to be, it was a reaction to the negative types of things that we were experiencing. And it was the negative types of things. We did not want to be associated with the war. And the World War II issues or the Korean War types of things were still fresh in people's minds. So when they talked about those dirty Japs, it was, that's not me. You know, I'm American.